Alright, hey everybody. So, finally gonna sit down and do this with some time. I was able to take out some of my books to show you guys at the holiday, and so it's kind of long overdue. I apologize for that, but I'm excited to talk about some Golden Age Captain America stuff. So let's just get right down to it, right? So, Cap has had lots of awesome war covers, but for this talk, I'm only going to talk about the his solo Nazi stuff. That means that awesome covers like this one, I'll select number 1, which might be, I think it's in the top 5 Cap covers for sure. But that means this is not part of this. That's a different video, because this is a group, you know, and I just wanted to concentrate on his solo titles. So that would be Captain America Comics, plus there were, I think, under 10 USA comics that featured him. And so for this video, I'm going to show you like a mix of these photocopies I made from Heritage scans of books that aren't mine. I wish they were mine. This thing looks like fresh. 8.5. Yeah. But don't worry, because it's not going to be just photocopies. I was able to go grab some of my own stuff. I don't have all the Nazi covers, but I brought out some, and here's another example of another book that is probably in the top 5, I'd say, at least according to me, but it's not in this video. I mean, this is an amazingly awesome, if not maybe my top 3 wartime caps. This one came out, I think, the tail end of 42. Now, so I don't really want to talk about grades. A lot of my stuff is very low grade. I try to just get whatever I can afford that actually looks good. So if I can deal with any defect, then that's fine by me. This one is pretty good. I wish they all looked like this. The colors are pretty awesome on this one. I mean, it almost can hold up with that. Yeah, it's not bad. So anyway, so there's going to be a lot of these photocopy things from the first like 13 comics or so. But we'll get into some real stuff, don't worry. So yeah, mix of scans. Now, why just Nazis? Well, when you collect Golden Age, it can be quite insane sometimes. Like, there's just a lot, especially if you're starting out. I started out with this book right here, Photojournal. This is just one of 2, but it's pretty big. And as you can see, there is a ton of Golden Age. And tons of awesome ones. Oh, there we go. Some Human Torches. Really nice color photos. He went out and actually scanned all these. I mean, I'm sure you guys know about all these. I'll give you a little cap fact. That one right there, it's number 3 or number 2. the numbers got all wacky because Goodman was saving money. But on the inside front cover of this is an ad for Cap 1, and that actually came out like a week or two before Cap number 1. So it's actually the first Cap in print. So that's a pretty cool book to get if you're into Cap. I mean, obviously, you'd want it raw. But anyway, look at, I mean, this is like nuts. Like, if you're like new to Golden Age, sorry, the focus is all crappy. I mean, it's just overwhelming. So what I like to do is try to make like small little sets, little runs that I can actually, I don't know, concentrate on, and it makes things a little easier to keep track of. Because sometimes these books are super hard to find at all, and you can get overwhelmed, and it's easy to like blow all your money on like something you thought you wanted, but turns out you really wanted this other thing, but this was only available, you haven't seen this. I mean, sometimes these books come up only like once a year or something like that. Like, these are a lot of Caps, right? And most of them are damn awesome. Even the ones after the war, there's some really great ones. This is a pretty late one right here. I thought that was a cool cover. But yeah, there's tons of them. So I like to break it up. Like, you know, maybe collect all the Caps from this one year, or all the Caps from, I don't know, where he's using a gun or riding a motorcycle, or not rescuing Bucky. Oh, here we go, the all selects. Yeah, it's amazing the amount of books. So yeah, I definitely recommend getting this, even if you're just kind of casual, like just want to like check out the art or whatever. It's awesome. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I was gonna. So yeah, I did mention that it was, you know, sometimes books can be pretty rare, and to illustrate that, I made a silly little chart here. So, according to the census, CGC census, I'm sure you guys all know about that, for every one Cap 1 that's been graded, there's been 18 Amazing Fantasies. Now, that might not seem like too much. Then if you go up, for every one, there's 66 of these guys. So Cap. So if this represents 157, then you get all your AFs, all your Hulks. 157, 2009, 65, and over 10,000 there. I mean, you know, the census isn't absolute, but, you know, even if you like quadruple the numbers, which I'd say that's probably a good indication of what's actually in existence still. I mean, Cap number 1 is still under 700. So it's small. It's just a small amount for demand. According to the Gerber books, they said only 1% of all the Golden Age comics published is existing today. Now that's pretty crazy to me. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but 25% of 1965 Silver Age are still in existence, and 75 of Bronze, and then, you know, well, maybe some people started throwing out their 90s books, but you can see that it's just hard to come by. So when you get one book coming out, you might be competing. Anyway, let's move on. All right, so these are all the caps that came out in the war years. I mean, they came out before the war, so like 18, let's see, first one was December 1940. Now, I usually go by, if I say it came out, that means it's published. So it's not the cover date. Like this is March cover, but I think it came out in like December or something. I'd have to look, but anyway, so here are all these caps during that war period. So it's December 40 till about, let's see, that one is right after Germany surrendered. So May of 45. Now you'd think there would be a lot of caps where he's fighting Nazis, but boom, look at that. Only 23. So, you know, collectible. For the most part, you know. I mean, that's your problem right there, number one. But the rest, you know, are doable. 3's getting up there. So this is all of them. Now, final little offshoot before I rank everything is I wanted to just give a brief, I don't know, timely history of Timely Comics with the swastika. So let's see, for that, let's get rid of these. Boom. This was September 1st, 1939. Germany attacked Poland. France and Britain declared war the next day. You know, America was far from in the war. In fact, it was pretty interesting looking at these old headlines. There's tons of, it's this. It says, bulletins on Europe's conflict. So you get, you know, from September 39 till Pearl Harbor. So you're looking at 2 years of full-fledged war going on, and they're talking about it like, oh yeah, and by the way, over here, you know, their thing that they do. I mean, it wasn't like that towards Pearl Harbor, but I mean, people at that point started to feel it was inevitable. But comics were around at this point. I think Marvel Comics #1 and maybe 2 were out before this. #1 was for sure. Superman, I think, was on like well, that was Action Comics, I think, number 17 or 19 around this time. So superheroes were going. Batman was I don't know if Batman #1 was out, but you know, he had several issues of detective in there. But DC, you know, didn't really get involved like other companies like Timely did. Now, they actually did the second swastika in comics ever. The first one was in Top Notch #2, I believe. Just like a month or two before this guy. So a couple months after this happened, they released this guy. This is the first Submariner cover ever. And the first swastika in Marvel Comics ever. Timely Comics. There really was no Marvel Comics. Not yet. And what's funny is, so this Life magazine came out before they attacked Poland. And I always thought, you know, it was a pretty good... This is a Schomburg cover, Alex Schomburg. You'll hear his name a lot in this video, but he got his information from somewhere. Could have been that, maybe. Pretty good image. So yeah, this came out in December 1939. And then, a year later, boom, Timely made a whole comic, well, a whole character that was just solely patriotic, going against the Nazis. This is like your Golden Age cover, right? If you think Golden Age, you think of this and Action 1 or whatever, but you know, anything that like has to do with the war, it's boom, it's going to this guy. And there's lots of stuff about this book that I'm sure you heard, or you know, I could do maybe another video some other time. There's lots of great stories about how this came about and the reaction of this in the public and whatnot. But so this came out December 1940, so a year after the war was declared. And then it was still a whole nother year until Pearl Harbor. Boom. USA declares war. Boom. So this, anything like Cap 1 and anything that shows, you know, heroes fighting Nazis before Pearl Harbor, I call pre-war. And it's just a really cool historic, like, propaganda, trying to, it was like a voice to the people. So anyway, what's that? So now I give you the Nazi Timely history. Let's go on to the ranking. All right, and now, you know, every Cap Nazi book, you know, is awesome. And it's really hard to rank. Really, really hard to rank them all. And somewhat silly in a way, because, like, if you ask me next week, it might be totally different, the ones I pick, so. Alright. So, rank number 3. So, my least favorite Cap against Nazi cover, this one right here. It is a Kirby one. It's one of the late Kirby ones. He actually might have already left for DC by the time this came out, or was told to finish. They had to finish, him and Simon had to finish the last 10, or the last few issues up to number 10 before they left for some reason. But, you know, maybe he didn't care. I don't know, I just think this is really stupid. But, you know, I do like the idea of Nazis against the occult, and the occult, like Raiders of the Lost Ark, you know. Oh, I actually have an old storybook of that right here. Not like you need to see that to know what movie I'm talking about, but anyway, this cover, like, imagine a Schomburg cover that had to do with the occult and the Ark and, like, Nazi zombie. I mean, that would be something. But this just looks not good. I mean, what the hell with that face? And that just looks like, come on. I mean, it is pre-war, so there's something to be said about kicking Nazis' tails before, you know, we're even at war. But we'll move on. So that was number 23. Number 22 in the ranks. This is issue 23. It's a Sid Shores cover. And it's not bad. I like that it's different in the sense that it's close-up. There aren't too many close-ups. This might be the closest of all of them. And it's cool to see a GI woman. But, I don't know. Here's number 21. I like that this is all military. Because for a while in the beginning, and this is still relatively early, we were in the war. This came out in September 42. But early on, they often would draw the Nazis as, like, they'd have some plain clothes on, and it's just not as cool as military. If this actually said something about it being in Africa, which I don't know if it is. Often the interiors don't even reflect the covers, but you know, maybe it is Africa. But that would be cool because right around this time, well, actually in November, not when this is released, but it is November cover, which is kind of cool too. The U.S. troops actually did start landing in Africa. All right. Rank number 20. Another Sid Shores. Sorry, Sid. This one's interesting. I used to have this one, and I would love to get all the Nazi cap covers someday. It's an interesting one. Like, at first I didn't like it, and then it kind of grew on me. It's just really interesting. Like, what is going on here? Again, I wish there was some context, like some kind of something to ID where this was taking place, or maybe who that guy he's holding is. Maybe I should know that. I'm not sure who that is. Rank 19. Boom, an early cap. This is a Kirby one. It's pretty crazy. I'm not sure if that is supposed to be the Red Skull, but I mean, he's looking pretty menacing. And this is kind of what I told you about, like, the Nazis aren't in uniform. This is like, you know, crazy clown Nazis. The Wheel of Death. And, you know, I just don't think Cap looks all that cool there. But hey, I mean, that's a Cap, a very early Cap. I would be very happy to have that. Alright, man, I gotta move faster. So this is ranked 18. I like this one because it has all kinds of, you know, historical references. Like, recently, like that little symbol there is the symbol for the French resistance. That is the Cross of Lorraine. They use that. There are actually like some military ships out in the ocean, free French ships and stuff, and that would just cause havoc. And they had that in their flag. It would be a French flag with that in the middle. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, saving. This is boy. This came out June 43, so it'd be a whole nother year until D-Day. So Schomburg knew we were coming to help. Cap was already behind the lines. France has been, yeah, at this point they had been under Nazi occupation for 3 years. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of cool stuff about the French resistance, which I don't have time for. Okay. I need to just talk like super fast, I guess. I don't know. So this is number 47. I love this one. Number 47, ranked 17. So I love this. It's got the V5. They only made V up to V2. V2s were, so V1 could launch from the edge of France across into England. They just shot these things. And then V2 they made, I think, in 44, and those were pretty crazy. They shot them out of moving planes, like bombers, which made them much harder to shoot down, because they could just kind of come from anywhere. And, you know, they were planning to make more. And the dude who made the V2, he actually surrendered to the U.S. at some point and worked at NASA. And he helped develop the rockets that went to the moon. Pretty crazy. Yeah, so I mean, I wish I liked the history behind this, you know, V5 to New York. I mean, why not, right? It's not like he wouldn't have used that if he had something like that. I do not like the Cap drawing very much, though. That arm is very weak. Head, not so good. Shield's pretty cool. I like how it's pretty rounded. Man, Bucky is, I think, the only Bucky that I know where he's using like a rocket launcher. It is a cool one. I mean, I'll probably get it someday. It's relatively cheap for a Schomburg. And Schomburg did get a little bit kind of weird with his caps towards the end. Alright, coming in, rank number 16. This was a hard one. It's a pretty cool Kirby cover. Great action. Bam! Look at that. It's got some great dynamic action on there. And I like that officer. I don't know what the hell this guy's doing with the skull there, and hanging covers are pretty popular. Well, or they're noticed. Cap looks pretty good too, I think. It's got a good weight to him. Alright, number 15. Yeah, this is number 15, but ranked. Oh, it is ranked number 15 too, okay. This is the only, what's his name? Al Avison. He's the cover artist. I think this is the only one he did of Cap Nazis. And this one is just, I mean, it kind of really reflects the insanity, anything goes of the Golden Age, especially the early years. I mean, what the hell? He's like, I wish those robots had like a Nazi swastika on them or something. That would be crazy. Nazi robots. I don't know if there are any Nazi robot covers. There probably is. not timely that I... Oh, actually there is. I think there is. Anyway, can't get in that. This guy, I mean, I like just how weird this one is. And man, that guy really could draw women. Look at that. Beautiful. Great. Now, I don't know what he's doing there. And they look weird, pretty weird too. But again, great. Really great. Okay, here we go. Rank. Rank 14. I'm already at a half hour. I thought I could do this whole thing in under a half hour. I'm crazy. This is the second Schomburg cover ever of his caps. He's not quite the Schomburg we know. I really can't stand it when they make the inside of his shield like that. Just so plain and like, ugh. I mean, that is just bad. I mean, look at this. I mean, this is a little crazy too. Like yellow, what? But that looks solid, right? And then, boom. Oh, I mean, look at the difference of Schomburg. He really got amazingly good. And this was just like 2 years after. This one came out in 43, like, well, right at the beginning. 43, probably my favorite year. Such good stuff. This, not so much. I mean, he could blame Joe Simon. He was the art director, right? So, that's not terrible. I would still like it. Hey, it's a Cap 4. I mean, very early. I don't know. What else can I say about this? Nazi doctors. It's kind of neat. The guy reminds me of Blanka from Street Fighter. Okay. USA number 6 coming in, ranked number 13. Let's see if I could at least get to 2 more, and then I'll probably have to make another video for the rest. This one's pretty awesome. I mean, the cap looks kind of nuts. This is early, so this is when this come out. Yeah, right towards the end of, okay, October 42. So just a month or so before that one. But, well, yeah, that's number 7. This is number 6. This is the only Schomburg versus Nazis Captain America from USA. And number 6 is the first book where Cap became the title guy. Now, torture scenes were pretty big in the Golden Age, and at least Schomburg got pretty creative with that stuff. Look at that. What the hell kind of machine is this? I don't really like how Cap is like, I don't know, really big. Sometimes that stuff works, like in some of the crazy Submariner covers, where he's like 60 feet tall, like lifting ships up and stuff. You know, it reminds me of how in Batman Year One, I think, that showed people describing Batman, and he was 20 feet tall, and oh my god, like, it reminded me kind of like that, like maybe it was some soldiers, this thing, like, lifted the ship. I mean, he must have been 50 feet tall, like, he came up out of the water and just blew through the whole side of it and ripped the side off, and that would be cool. But yeah, Schomburg, very cool. He got creative with his tortures stuff, like this one. This is Cap 28, ranked number 12. That's pretty creative too. Look at that. There's that nice inside of the shield again. Crazy looking Red Skull. Spear throwing Nazis. That's a new one. Very nice. The colors and the line work is just, and the detail is just amazing. Great compositions too. You could tell he grew a lot, even just from there to there, as an artist. It's almost a year. All right, here we go. Ranked number 11. Number 11. USA. Number 9. The only other USA where he's against Nazis. This one's pretty cool. It's a Sid Shores. It's got Hitler back there. And some kind of crazy Nazi zombie doctor thing. Paralyzing serum. But see, look at that. He's like just tied up. That's pretty boring compared to that. I think this was the last of the Nazi covers where Cap is rescuing Bucky. So thank God, because I get pretty sick of that. I like it when Bucky's fighting by his side with a machine gun or something. I get sick of... I don't want to read about him rescuing Bucky. I want to read about him helping to win the war. Alright, so that was the lowest ranked ones of the 23. So make sure you come back for the second video. I'll probably just make it tonight, but this is getting long, and I don't want to run out of room. But just so you know, I got some really cool books coming up, some actual books. There's a lot of books to look at in the next one, so do come back. All right, thanks for watching.